in the conclusive stage of this series on hydroxychloroquine. And it is not funny that I would always like to come back to my area of interest, my subject of passion, that is diabetes. Even as the country battles a very deadly infection, the government responding swiftly, authoritatively, and very effectively, where we have seen that the country has a production capacity of 40 tons of hydroxychloroquine every month, implying almost 200 million tablets of 200 milligram each, where out of which Mr. Trump has already bought more than 29 million doses of hydroxychloroquine for potential treatment of COVID-19 cases in the US. We think that this is the best opportunity, the best time to find a conveniently practical way forward, to push the government, the Indian government, to find potentially generic manufacturers and nudge them towards the opportunities to diversify our national insulin markets with acceptable off-patent products for export and make indigenous plants and resources, which there is a modicum of virtue after the shipment of this from this modification or modification of the Indian stance following the threat, so-called threat of retaliation that had lifted the ban on the export of hydroxychloroquine to other countries overnight. This gives us a big hope that our country can easily become the largest manufacturer of insulin someday, if not overnight, some night. Not from any warning or an ultimatum, but from the natural desire or a natural response of the national need and the global deficiency. An awakening should come to rise to that state where we understand that till the goal of all the people with diabetes who need insulin for survival, that goal is met or that goal is reached, we should not stop. During this time, I would also urge Mr. Trump if he can return the favors by helping us to set up these industries and giving us adequate support. And in the meantime, he should not exhaust our own indigenous stock of these life-saving drugs like hydroxychloroquine, which combat malaria, because monsoons are almost knocking at the door, and this can become very fatal if the medicines are not given on time for my own Indian people. Ladies and gentlemen, novel corona will definitely become ignored, like influenza, measles, and malaria. For any other disease, where there is cure, there is vaccine, there is treatment. But even after 100 years, after the Nobel-winning discovery, insulin is still a novelty item for so many. And I'll tell you, according to the IDF statistics, the International Diabetes Federation statistics, presently every 7-8 seconds, someone is dying somewhere from diabetes or complications. And that is rather prematurely. With 50% of these deaths, mind you, 4 million in total per year, occurring under the age of 60. Unlike whatever is happening with COVID-19, if some are dying, they're usually elderly with a lot of comorbidities. In fact, to tell you, 2019, there were 5 lakh contribution to death from India with diabetes. And this number has actually tripled in the last 3 decades since 1990. So what are we doing in terms of management of diabetes, which is there for more than 5,000 years? And we are actually gone completely crazy with COVID-19 just in 3 months. I have no objection, or I am nobody to stop that. But in the process, if we can think that there are 1.1 million children and adolescents younger than 20 years living with type 1 throughout the world, out of which 1,30,000 are in India living with type 1, which is more than double that of China. Mind you, what is the insulin requirement? And we all know for certain that this lockdown has really shown us, opened a complete different picture, a ghastly picture, that insulin is just not available. People in Denmark, France, the countries which make insulin are perhaps not going to the factory. So where would insulin come from? I would like to tell you that we may not always have to be comfortable in life, or perhaps we cannot solve all the problems in the world at once. But we cannot actually underestimate the importance that we have within us, because history has shown us that courage can be contagious. And from India, as an Indian, this is a big hope that can take a life of its own. It can become a completely magical world to live in and with the people having diabetes. We have understood that in this lockdown period, there was so much of anxiety, there's so much of scarcity that, longevity, just living those, 40 days or 60 days in quarantine, in complete so-called stay homes, stay safe. We are not saying staying actually happy. We have jeopardized the quality of living. And that happens with almost every person with diabetes who is not getting the proper supply of insulin in the world. And I'm talking about my country. Please, for heaven's sake, for God's sake, let us think beyond COVID-19 and take care of the world, who have much more number of people dying from diabetes every day. And if you don't take care, they will be dying even more by the day. So let's bring an end to this. Thank you.